Gonna turn on this thing. Hey everybody. Yeah, we got a good crowd. This is the Script Masters panel. We are recording this to put it on KW Live in case you have to jet out of here. But I have Bradley McKissick from the McKissick Group here and Jay Ocker from REBD, and we're going to have a script off. So the way we're going to do this is it's going to read a question. These are the same questions that they had at Mega Camp. And each of you will take a turn with your best script, and then people here will get to vote as to who had the best script for that question.
I'm in trouble.
All right. Shane, you want to take it away?
All right. So let's start with our first script, and Bradley, we'll start with you.
Okay.
All right. So Zillow is telling me my house is worth more than you are. Who am I supposed to believe?
So that's an absolute great observation. And many homeowners, when we go and sit down with them, they take a look at their Zestimate, and oftentimes the Zestimate does show a little bit higher. Sometimes it shows a little bit lower. The Zestimate is a lot like your tax appraisal, whereas for what I get to see as an agent is I get to see the exact same comps that an actual licensed appraiser, who at the end of the day, whether I sell this thing for you for $500,000 or for $200,000, they're the ones that are going to come in and put the actual value on. And so, you can look at the Zestimate. However, the comps that I'm showing you, which is what an appraiser is going to show you, are saying that you're here, not quite at your Zestimate number. So I'd hate to see you go through a lot of anguish and waste a whole lot of time whenever we can't even get the property to appraise.
Beautiful.
Okay.
All right. Great.
So, hey, it is a great question. I hear that a lot. And usually people are on one side or the other. It's either overvalued or undervalued in their opinion. The reality is there's not much rhyme or reason for what Zillow produces. A lot of times when we get calls on our own listings that we closed 4 or 5 months ago, again, we don't know what they're updating their information with, but I know that a lot of times Zillow takes into account your appraised, or I'm sorry, your assessed value for the county. And that a lot of times they're pulling comps in the immediate area. They're not taking into account maybe the age of the home, maybe the amenities or the upgrades that that home has. So what we're going to do is drill down and look at the actual comps, just like Bradley said, that an appraiser is going to pull when they come out to value their property, because at the end of the day, those are the numbers that really matter.
All right, y'all. Vote now? Yeah.
I vote him.
Can I dovetail one thing onto that I read on, I think it was that lighter side of real estate or whatever. And I said, I used this with a client recently, and I said, in our industry, the A in Zillow stands for accuracy.
That's perfect. That's about right.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Well, I like to start out by discrediting Zillow just right out of the gate by saying their information is real broad, and they're trying to force the consumers information so consumers use their information. It's not necessarily accurate. In fact,
What was the story that Zillow's owner, his estimate on his house was either, was it 900,000 over?
Yeah. Yeah,
The actual value he sold his home for. Yeah.
Nice. All right.
All right.
So
So
do we want to vote? All right. Raise your hand.
Should we blindfold ourselves?
Yeah, you're like, oh.
I already voted.
We thought it would be fun. Okay, so who wants to vote for Bradley? I'm not voting
You're
as
impartial.
staff. I'm impartial.
Oh, you
That's
can't
not
be.
happening.
Yep.
All right.
I'm a moderator.
All right, so we got for Jay. It's a tie. I'm gonna
It's a
go
tie,
with a
okay.
tie.
All right.
As a new agent, the only reason I voted for you as opposed to Bradley is you said the exact same thing, you just didn't use as many words. Oh, I chose Bradley for some reason. Yeah.
Well, it's funny you mention that, because whenever I teach classes at Mega Camp or Reunion or whatever, I always preach simplicity the whole way through the class. We overcomplicate the crap out of everything. Just keep it simple.
But the takeaway that you both gave for us with using the consumers is when it all boils down to it, it's gonna be what the appraisal comes in and value to that. And, you know, what we get off the MLS is what it actually is.
Right.
Mhm.
And when I was traveling and I was coaching and teaching Bold, the big thing that Diana always kind of tells to Bold coaches and preaches it through their classes is emotion and logic. Logic makes people think, emotion makes people act. And so I've had quite a good success, especially in today's day and world. How emotional is it?
Mhm.
Everything is based on emotion right
Right.
now. And so bringing in that emotion, telling stories, and things like that, how would that make you feel, stuff like that, that's what's helping get people off the fence and list where they need to list and not try to get that pie in the sky number. So,
All right.
Question number 2?
Yep, let's go to the next one. I'll start with Jay this time. Your seller wants to price their home for $500,000, but you know it's worth $450,000. What do you say?
Yeah, I love anything regarding pricing. I absolutely love it. So after we sat down and talked through the numbers, presumably, you know, Shane, I understand you want to sell your home for $500,000. So do I, because the more I get for your home, the more my commission is going to be. I'm really confident in our marketing strategy. I feel comfortable with the value of $450,000, but let's give it a shot at $500,000 for 10 days or 2 weekends on the market. And if we don't have some serious traction, we have a handshake agreement, then we're going to come back and talk about that number again. Because what we don't want to do in a market where days on market is about 20, is sit on the market for 60 days at $500,000, and then your homes become stigmatized.
So I'll basically say the exact same thing, but I'll just say it how I would say it. You know, I totally understand that you feel like that's where you'd like to price your home at. If you kind of take a look at everything that I've pulled with not just here within your local market, but also within the area that has sold and also you'd be competing with, what do you really see at the end of the day based off past comps and what you're competing with? What do you really see is where you need to be priced at? And I'm shut up.
So it's, I mean, the great thing is you don't create the market, you interpret it.
Right.
When you're talking to people, that's just it. Unless you have a handshake agreement that you're going to come back and be realistic.
That's so smart right now. So smart right now. I take that $500. If they said, no, I want 500, okay, as long as we have an understanding. Good news is we're going to know within 72 hours where you stand. So.
I like where I thought you were going when you said here are the comps. And you said, what do you see? I would have had them answer me.
Well,
Yeah.
When you said what you see, but you kept, so is that what you're doing?
well, that's why I stopped.
Yeah.
And there's something else you can add to what he said, and that is put yourself in a buyer's perspective. If you're coming out and here's the available homes, let's put ours in order of price per square foot or general price. Which one do you want to see first? You're going to be at the bottom of the pile. We're going to get less visibility.
So what you're saying right out, in reality, you just shut up in there and let me.
100%.
Okay.
Silence is golden. You want silence because that means you got their head.
Self-discovery is powerful. Big time.
When I was at family reunion this year, and this one of the guys in the Ben Kinney's team up in Washington, and he laid out the CMA, and instead of actives, he said, this is your competition. The pendings were, these are the contracts you missed on. And the solds are, these are the ones your home's going to be valued against. And he would say, okay, where do you see your number on this list?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's the same thing when you have high inventory, which we have now. If you're listing something at Sundown and there's 12 other active competing listings, and you're talking price, you know, we're selling 2 homes every month. We have 6 months of inventory. Which month do you want to sell? I mean, I'm all about being really direct because I don't want to sit there at night staring at the ceiling trying, because I can't sleep wondering how I'm going to sell a $500,000 house when it's not worth $500,000. No, on my the next morning saying, why haven't you sold the house? It's because they didn't have the guts to be honest at the very beginning.
All right, do we want to vote?
We've been off on a
Again, I
tangent,
mean, they're both awesome.
Do we want to vote or do we just want to go through the vote?
I would vote. Come on, y'all.
Oh, come on, let's.
Look at, she's out for
All
blood.
right, so we'll go for Jay first. 2 votes for Jay. All right, and then Bradley? right, Jay wins.
All right.
All right, you want to ask the next?
All right. The next one is, I want to buy my next house before I sell the one I'm in. I'm afraid once I sell, I won't be able to find anything to buy. There are no listings out there. I think I should just
We need to find that question.
wait. Sure. I want to sell my, or excuse me, I want to buy my next house before I sell the one I'm in. I'm afraid once I sell, I won't be able to find anything to buy. There are no listings out there. I think I should just wait.
Totally understand how you feel. Do you mind if I ask this question? Are you in a position right now to be able to go purchase your next property without selling your current property first?
It's important to know.
Yes or no?
No, I'm not.
Okay. So you're not alone. There's many people that fall within this situation. And so what I'd like to ask you is, have you ever looked into a bridge loan before for yourself?
I never heard of it.
Okay, no problem at all. A lot of people don't even know these types of loans exist. There is a loan out there that can possibly help you go purchase your next property and not start the payment on your next property until we get your property sold first. I've done many of these throughout the year. It sets you up to where you can kind of make that move into the next property whenever you feel like it's comfortable and that type of thing. Do you happen to know how much equity you have on your home here? Do you know what you owe on your home?
250,000.
Okay, sounds to me like you have some pretty good equity built into the home. I'm gonna have X from X give you a phone call here in just a little while to touch base and also introduce that bridge loan to you. Is that okay?
That'd be great.
Perfect. Let's get that taken care of first, and let's try to set you up to be able to go out and purchase the next one and find out if that's an option for you. And then if not, then we'll come circle back up and we'll put together the right plan of action for you to get to where you want to be. Sound good?
That sounds great.
Perfect.
All right. Ask me the question again. Sorry.
All right, Jay. So,
I'm sitting there absorbing that because I've never even thought about saying that. That's smart.
so Jay, I want to buy my next house before I sell the one I'm in. I'm afraid that once I sell, I won't be able to find anything out there. There's no listings out there. I think I should just wait.
Shane, it's a really common thing we hear from our clients. Inventory is really low. And what we have found is a great strategy we put into place is, let's go ahead and start getting things ready on your home now while we start your search. And once we find the home that you're ready to write an offer on, assuming you can get that agreed to and under contract, we're ready to go the next day. We're ready to launch your listing live because I have no doubt that within a week or two, we're going to have your home under contract, and 30 days later, we're closing on that. Because the last thing we want you to be is homeless. And there's also a thing when we sell our listings where the sellers clearly have the upper hand, and that's a lease back. And essentially, if you were to close on November 15th, we would ask for a lease back, maybe just for ease sake and peace of mind for a couple of weeks past that close date, just to make sure you don't have to move twice and you're not homeless. Because I don't want you sleeping on my couch. I like you. I want you as my client, but I'm trying to keep you in one spot or the other, an easy transition here. It's good. Questions, observations?
It seems risky.
Say
Seems like
again.
a risky strategy.
Risky?
Yeah. No?
Hasn't backfired yet. Knock on something.
What's behind you? Just
Yeah.
in case.
So I've got someone in that same situation right now that didn't want to list their home. They were afraid they weren't going to find what they're after. They're trying to buy a bunch of land down in Bahia, Texas. And once they got their home on the market and they realized, oh my goodness, I can actually get this for my home. Heck, I'll go into a short, go live with family for a little while until we're able to get what we're after, because we want this, and take advantage of the market of now. Because the market of now, the guarantee is it's not going to be there in the future.
Right.
We know where we're headed. We've seen all the numbers. Now's the time for anybody to be putting their home on the market if it's important for them to get the most amount of money.
Yeah, and there's a lot to unpack with that objection. A lot of questions to ask before you can really address it, because it has to do with a ton of different factors. Do you have a place you can temporarily go if you wanted to? Some people say, oh, I can live in my mom's house or something like that. And they'll just volunteer that right out of the gate. I always leave what I said as an option. I kind of cover them all, but if you're just blanket asking me that, that's kind of where I am.
The other thing that I've seen put into play too is if they're even open, or even if they brought up new construction, that can be an easy transition if you just go find when they're.
Right?
Yeah, that's what I mean. There's so many layers. Yeah.
Jen, do you want that offer as a contingent?
If it has to be a contingency, yes, but what I do is I submit a coming soon, my coming soon MLS sheet with it, and I include a generic CMA for the neighborhood saying this will be under contract in 6 days. We're priced perfectly for it. The house is in this, this condition, it's gonna go quickly. And when you receive an offer on your list, just go to a CMA on that property, or you should, to find out the legitimacy of the offer. So yeah, you wanna obviously make your offer as strong as possible by providing the information, cutting the legwork out for that listing agent.
Perfect. All right. Who wants to vote for Bradley? Why? All right. Oh, well, I think that was
Yeah.
with Bradley.
Touche.
I vote for Jay and that one too. I love that there are options. I mean, if I could do both, I'd raise both hands. and
Right.
vote with them, because I think they're equally as powerful and equally as strategic. And I think just providing more options and answering the question directly, like what was the objection? I mean, you both did an amazing job on that. I wrote notes down for both of you on that.
A smiley face for both.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I could vote for both of you that way. So.
Perfect.
Well, one thing to remember on scripts is they need to be you, right?
Totally.
Every script you can take something from and another particular script. It doesn't have to be word for word.
No,
It's,
don't.
it has to be you.
It won't, it has to be.
You don't want to sound cheap.
Yes, you are the magic in the script.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you are the magic.
When I first started calling expires, I had all kinds of scripts. I put them on the wall in front of me, bold. I mean, you name it, there's millions of them out there. And I would try to keep myself from reading word for word, but I found myself reading word for word. And then what I started doing was highlighting a sentence here, a sentence that were powerful and felt natural to say. And I just kind of created my own scripts, and I hate the word script. It's a 4-letter word to me, but absolutely an everyday thing. We can't do it all the time.
And I like what they're doing in the new bowl, where it's really just, do you have something to start a conversation?
That's it.
And then just get them talking.
Right.
Yep.
Right? And then it's just asking
Just
questions.
trying to get them to crack the door open so you can gently push them.
And Bold starts today at 1.
Nice.
So we'll wait. All right, let's see. Next one, in Jay, you're first on this one.
Okay.
All right. So you're amazing. You are.
Oh, thank you. I guess we're done here.
But I also want to interview other agents.
Normally at this point, by the way, I've already said what I'm getting ready to say because I volunteer this right out of the gate. I understand you want to talk to some other people, and I encourage you to interview 3 or 4 different agents, because 3 of those agents are probably going to tell you exactly what you want to hear. I play with the cards face up. I tell you everything that's related to your sale, whether you want to hear it or not. You need to know these things. What I would encourage you to do when you speak to those other agents is have them show you their performance, not tell you what they do, not tell you what their marketing expense is. Show me hard copies of what it does, and more importantly, show me MLS data that shows me your sales price to list price. Show me how many homes you sold in the last 12 months. And I want you to reach out to those people, and if you have questions, if they said something that we didn't talk about, I would just ask you to give me a call and let's address it. I know we've covered a lot today. That's it.
It's awesome. I think I'm right there with everything, honestly, that he said. The only thing just to do something different would just be, hey, totally understand how you feel that way. I appreciate the compliment. What have I not answered that would put you in a position to hire me right now to get your property sold?
I knew we were going to start saying the same things.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are, I mean, I always do. Every single listing appointment, I say it to them before they've had a chance to say, my son's science teacher's ex-husband's cousin is now a realtor.
And I love how he said, make sure whatever agents that you're interviewing, you see in writing exactly what they've done and then shown you their results. What are they going to do to be able to market your home the way that you serve, that's a big line that I've worked.
And by the way, this market center is your team. And if you're a solo agent, great, this market center is your team. I add, when I'm having conversations, a lot of times the average agent in the market sells 7 homes a year. Last year we sold 408. So make sure you're finding out their production. It just legitimizes you less than it does slam somebody else. I don't want to do that. That's
And we
really
do
it.
put out the lure every month that you can use in
Yeah.
your listing agreement and your buyer packets and all of that.
Mhm.
So you can use our lure.
That was one I would use, is that my team sells the most homes in Denton County, and we are 3 times second place.
Yeah. I say something similar. Like, we sell more real estate here than anybody else. There's 12 major players in town. We sell more than number 2, 3, and 4 combined. Hey, can you get
But then it's my team, right? As an
Yeah.
individual agent.
Yeah.
It's not just
Your
about
team.
me, it's my team.
Yes.
This market's
100%.
Mm-hmm.
100%.
Oh, do we want to vote? All right, so.
Hey, Jay, got
Howdy.
We said the same thing.
Yeah. Who wants to vote for Brett? All right, Jay got that one,
Yeah.
because you went first. I think I see a trend here.
Yeah, there's a trend going. It's because we're stealing each other's thunder, right? Chances not.
Right?
Said at the same time.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, go. We'll
Decipher that.
All right. All right, so Bradley, I want to list my house with you, but I'm not 100% sure you're a luxury brand. And at my price point, I think that's what I need.
Totally understand how you feel that way, and I'll be 110% transparent with you. I'm not a luxury brand. However, that opens it up for me to be able to utilize our marketing and advertising, which we've sold $3 million homes down to $30,000 lots to builders to go build on. So we've got a database of over 6,000 people that we market and advertise to, and we've got connections all over the United States with different luxury agents and things like that. But I'll be honest with you, we're not a luxury company or a luxury brand, but we do believe in providing the best service that we can. We're not, so I'm not gonna sit here.
I'm not either.
BS it.
And honestly, I've never had that objection from you.
I've never had that.
Not once, not one time. And we've sold $1 million houses on the lake and all that stuff too, never asked about it. But if you were to ask me that, I would probably say, Shane, I understand your concern. This has far less to do with luxury and more to do with marketing. Our job, if we're very effective at it, we're passionate about it, is to get your listing in front of as many eyeballs as we can possibly do. I could sell tires. It happens to be your $2 million home on the lake. We do have at our disposal KW's luxury designation, if we so choose to go down that road, which also plugs us into a network of other luxury agents who cross-market properties back and forth. But ultimately, in the day, it has to do with what the individual agent you decide to work with is willing to do to market your home.
And really, you could throw it back on to it. You could say, well, do you mind if I ask, what is luxury to you?
Right. What does it mean to you? Why does that mean? Yeah.
So I would probably say go that route than my route, just because, I think you would want to be building rapport and stuff like that.
Or what do you think that distinction differentiates from what I would be able to offer?
Right.
Yeah. Because chances are they'll say it and you probably offer it. So.
Yeah, I've never heard that objection ever. Sitting in $1 million homes and they never ask,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
which is great because I don't want them to ask it.
Right.
Because it has nothing to do with, people just want to feel exclusive and they're going to be on a glossy page in some magazine or plan.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to pay $800 a month for that. The home ultimately will sell itself. You just accelerate it and potentially bring in a higher end price through your marketing. Has anybody else been asked that before?
Mm-hmm.
You have? Really? I would be wary of somebody who scoffed at our performance because they don't have a KW luxury designation. I don't want high maintenance clients. And that just oozes.
Maybe we get in front of them, they were just like, I just feel like our price point is a little above what you're used to. I'm just like, how do you even know that?
You know, they have no clue. And right there, that should tell you
You're
what
right,
you need to know.
but they don't know that.
Yeah.
Like, but,
You probably got lucky.
Uh-huh.
but
Truth
yeah.
be told, you probably got lucky.
I mean, I tell people all the time, I'd rather take 5 $200,000 listings than $1 million listing any day.
100%. It's a heck of a lot more $200,000 listings in our area than there are in plus.
All right, do we want to vote? All right, Bradley?
No,
Yeah.
I don't vote for me. I was just, I'm the dad. I've never ever had that.
I'm shooting from the hip here.
Yeah, right?
It wasn't just what you said, Scotty said too.
Well, that's a really, really great point. Because it's awesome when you get to a point where you're so comfortable in your scripts, whatever they might be, and there aren't that many, by the way, because we keep it simple, remember? But it's not necessarily about what you're saying, it's how you say it, and your ability to just kind of be convincing and confident and connect with the person at the same time. Because it's a powerful feeling when you use a script and realize you just influenced somebody's decision based on what you said and how you said it. Super important. And this goes down to prospecting for online leads. It doesn't matter. It's really, really powerful.
All right. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, I'm gonna go here. Okay, Jay. I can't list until I find somewhere else to move. I'm just not doing it. And I'm not interested in having a contingent offer.
Kind of a repeat of the second
Sure.
one we did.
Mhm.
So I will defer to that script as well, but I will address the contingency part of it. You know, Shane, I understand your concern. I've had many clients who felt that way, and what they found is that we got into this process, they realized they're probably in a position of power where they would likely have multiple offers, and we will have the luxury of being able to say, hey, we want to remove a contingency if you have one. But a lot of times in multiple offer situations, we're going to have people backing up the Brinks truck, throwing everything that they can to get your home, because in a lot of cases, they've already lost out on 2 or 3. Comes to negotiating those. You're staring at me like I should be going more. Was that not good enough?
I'm just
So, and the only thing I'll just add, honestly, I mean,
Sure.
the only thing I'll just add on top of that is that 9 times out of 10, in order to even get your contingent offer accepted, they want to see your house on the market active. So we need to get you into the best position to be able to go out and get the best deal possible. Hence why I also bring up, have you ever looked into a bridge loan before?
Good point.
Because being able to make a non-contingent offer for yourself, if you can and have the power to do so, puts you in the driver's seat and puts you in the best competitive position possible when you're making offers with multiple people making offers on the same home and that type of thing. And so the last thing I ever want you to do is go look at a home and you not be in the best position possible for you to go buy that home if you enjoy it and you like it and you want to do so.
I like backing up the money.
I do. I use that all the time. And I stopped just short of doing the beep, beep.
All right, Bradley? Jay? We got a tie, no, okay, we had a tiebreaker, so Jay, you got it.
I think they're voting on the screen too. Can you see
Oh,
the
they are?
chat
Yeah,
happening?
Yeah, they're popping up.
I was seeing names pop up.
Oh, that's me, that's how I'm
you?
keeping tally.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay, got it. I just thought, oh, we're voting up here too.
No, it's just me talking in there.
All right. So this one, we'll start with Bradley. A buyer is falling in love with a home that is $300,000 over budget.
Oh, why are you- oh, sorry.
They're not looking at that home with me. I can guarantee you. There's my script. Next.
How do you bring someone into reality if they can't afford what they picked out?
Sure. So I think there's a lot of different levels on looking at that because number one, have I done my due diligence on pre-qualifying them before I put them in the car or before I'm having them follow me and we're looking at properties? So I would have to just tell you, it ain't gonna happen with me.
Yep.
It's just not. So I think the question would be, let's just say that they called in and, you know, they said, hey, I want this house, it's $800,000. Hey, totally understand that you enjoy that home. The last thing I would ever want you to do is to get into a home and fall in love with it and then unfortunately find out that you can't have that home that you desire. Do you mind if I ask, have you spoken to a lender that is local here in the area that you felt comfortable with, that's given you the best package and the best numbers for what's best for you.
Yep.
And then I go from there.
No difference.
Yeah.
I mean, I won't find myself in that position ever.
No.
Like, we will go out and if I said we didn't show homes to people that didn't have pre-quals, I'd be lying.
Right.
But they're $250,000 houses,
Yeah.
not 800.
Yeah.
If somebody starts creeping up over our normal, which is about 280 or so, 300, I'll mention it for sure. But I won't kill the interaction if it's like a brand new lead that I just hooked up and they want to go up. I'll go meet them and start building rapport. But just like he said, the script is more geared around the pre-qual.
First question, have you spoken to the mortgage?
No, I don't.
No.
I don't.
No.
I always close for the appointment first, period.
Mhm.
And if I burn 30 minutes of my day going out and talking to somebody and they said, well, I already have an agent. Okay, great. I lost 30 minutes of my day. But asking questions like that, especially to first timers or even second and third time buyers, they're overwhelmed. They're unconsciously incompetent. They don't even know what they don't know.
Which question? Was too much?
Talking about pre-qual
Oh.
or anything else. I don't want to run somebody off before I've had a chance to meet with them face to face and do a little rapport building.
Right.
But the pre-qual script that I love is, hey, let's get you in touch with the lender that we love to work with in the area. We've got multiple that we work with. And the reason pre-qualification is important to you is because it gives us a general idea of what we need to be looking for in terms of price. But it also allows you, if we find the house that you love today, and you just have to have it, we need that letter to go with our offer, or else the offer's not worth the paper that it's written on. So let's put ourselves in the best position to win right now.
And the way that you can actually ask that question too, that keeps people building rapport with them is, hey, do you mind if I ask, are you planning to pay cash for a property
Yeah.
or are you looking to do financing? And I always throw out the cash option, even if for some reason you feel like after talking with them that maybe they can't, always throw it out there because you never know.
Yeah.
And it's kind of an empowering way to ask it because, oh, I can pay cash for this home, or, I got enough cash, right? So
This guy thinks I'm big time.
yeah. So I would encourage you to throw that out there first.
Would it change if your buyer that you're currently showing property came in and said, I went to an open house this weekend and I fell in love with it, but it's out of my budget, but I really want to make an offer? Would that change your script at all?
Not necessarily. I mean, if you're pre-approved for 300, whether I took you to a $500,000 house or you stumbled across one at an open house, you can't buy it. But what you could do is say, do you have the means to come up with any more ability to finance a higher price point, get a gift from family or something like that? That's really what we would have to look at in terms of getting into something that's $500,000 plus.
And what is your budget?
Mm-hmm.
What is your budget?
Because we've had some crazy ones before where parents will give them
Oh, yeah.
150 grand. And get them into that house.
And you can say, is that your budget? And what did you actually get pre-qualified for? Because there's a lot of times lenders will qualify them for up here, but their budget really is down.
Yeah.
So,
All right, who wants to vote? So
That's a tough one.
that is a tough one. So Jay, who votes for Jay? All right, Bradley.
Love you, Bradley.
Jay, Jay got this one.
We're saying the same thing.
I know.
That's just it. Trust me.
It's like who talked first?
I know.
You see, I started with Bradley and now he's not doing
Yeah.
it. Okay, so Jay, this market is so hot, I think I'm just gonna try to sell my house on my own.
I love this one. Love this one. Sell it on your own. The reality is our inventory is so low, just as you mentioned, the market is smoking hot. If you put your house on FSBO or for sale by owner, you'd probably sell it. The big question is, would you sell it for what you could? And by the way, I bring a slide in my listing presentation that shows our stuff. I say, I'll refer back to that slide and say, our listings sell at 99.1% of the list price. The average MLS agent sells at 95.4%. On a home or year value, about $275,000. That's a $10,000 net gain back to you. I can promise you that if you listed on your own, you wouldn't get the exposure you need. And you're very likely not going to see that net dollar come up or multiple offers come into play. There's so many scripts around that one. Another one is that's a strategy for you. I don't doubt that you could sell it. I question whether we could get more for it, or question whether you could get as much as we could for it. Let me ask you, if I brought you a buyer for your house and you had it for sale by owner, would you pay me a commission? And And almost the answer is always yes. So you're trying to save ultimately 3% when stats show that FSBOs sell 9 to 12% of their market value. So under that scenario, you'd be taking 6% less conservatively for your home to be sold at. Let the data speak for it. You know what I mean? You're not making stuff up. You're using real numbers. You know, let that stuff work for you.
Do you all ever get into talking about the caveats that come with trying to handle all the
Oh, yeah,
contract stuff?
sure.
And-
If it keeps going down that road, you
Right,
bet.
right.
You know, who's got to manage your contract right now? You know, do you know an attorney who could do that for you? Or are they going to charge you an arm and a leg? Because at this point, the dollar signs are starting to add up in your head as to what your cost will be when you're ultimately only trying to save 3%, which I just pointed out to you. So yeah, if you keep going down the road, yeah. But I mean, I think if you have a really powerful script to the objection right out of the gate, a lot of times it's diffused right away. And this is the same script as if you're calling this. It's a great script.
Good question. So if you're calling a FSBO and you ask them if I bring you a buyer, you pay me 3%, and that FSBO says no.
Mhm.
What? You know what I said? What would you say? Because
So there's different strategies around FSBOs. Like that's a whole other conversation, but this sounds crazy, but it's effective. You know, I noticed your home for sale by owner, you're not going to pay the buyer's agent commission. That's great. How much interest have you had and how long have you been on the market? 2 weeks. Because usually people's threshold is 14 to 21 days on FSBO, and then they're frustrated. So my team in this area, AW, we sell more real estate in this area than any other brokerage by a lot. And we like to know about everything that's on the market. I would love to do an open house for you. Would you be available and willing to let me come sit at open house, advertise and everything, just to get you some feedback from buyers and potentially see what we can do?
What if they say no because there's so many people that are coming to the house right now, they don't need.
Oh, well, I mean, eventually you can get stonewalled. And at that point, my next thing is say, best of luck, have a great day, and I'm on to the next call. Because I'm picking up rocks, looking for gold. The more rocks I pick up on calls, the more opportunity I'm going to.
And that's a huge point. So this is a safe room, right? I mean,
We're in a safe
comfortable up
space.
here. So let me ask you guys this question. So within the last week, how many of you guys have picked up the phone and called the last 7 days for sale by owner? Perfect. How about within the last 5 days? Within the last 3 days? So look, there's 2 people out of the room. I've done that exact same thing all over the country. And the reality is, just say something. Just make the call. Don't stress out about what to say because no one else is doing it. Be that person that's just going to step out there.
The margin calls were so high that they were like, yeah, I don't want someone else's fast. We have it for sale by owner so we can sell it slow on purpose. How do you say something to that?
Well, you control the flow of the transaction. You say, you've got the upper hand. We can call the shots.
Right.
Let's talk about listing your home through our marketing efforts, increasing your bottom line, and us dictating the flow of this entire transaction. And again, you have the upper hand. We get to call the shots. So if we want to ask for a lease back, we're going to ask for a lease back, whatever it may be.
And by the way, unfortunately right now, you're only touching about 5% of your real market. Your buyer that could give you the terms, the price, everything that you desire is out there, and you may never touch them being at 5% of the market.
Did you want to do your script?
Oh,
Well, I know we're getting questions, but Bradley hasn't had a chance to get.
okay. You want to ask me the
Yeah,
question?
so the market's so hot, I think I'm just gonna sell the house on my own.
I totally understand how you feel. Let me ask you this question. Have you given yourself a timeline before really how long you would keep trying to sell your property on the market on your own before you decide to hire the right agent for the job to get your home sold?
Hadn't really thought about it.
Okay. So are you thinking like maybe a week, maybe like 1 day? What are you thinking on something like that?
Well, the market is hot as it is. I should be able to sell it here in a couple months.
Okay. So if I could give you the opportunity to keep selling it on your own, but at the same time, take advantage of all of my marketing advertising that sells over 350 homes a year, and you sell it completely free of charge if you find your own buyer, would that be something that might interest you?
Why would you do that?
Well, do you mind if I come out tomorrow at 4 or 5 to sit down with you and show you how the plan works?
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay, perfect. I'll see you tomorrow.
And you got the info. Mhm.
Yeah, if you can nail down the face-to-face, huge,
Absolutely.
the most important thing.
On that venue, when you talk about asking you to do an open house, I've done that, and I
Mhm.
held the open house. What do you do when you have somebody on Zillow who's doing for sale by owner? Say, my house is really, really hot right now, it's getting a lot of views, and it has a few sales. And the question I asked you was, how many of those people have come to your house?
Right?
And how many people have made an offer?
That's exactly right.
So that's just what you need to do,
Yeah,
because it's.
that's it.
Those are
Great. You're getting a ton of clicks. How does that look in your bank account right now?
Yeah.
Well,
Those are two of my first questions.
You know?
And Diana Kokoska would even say, how many people that you know, it's exactly what you said, but to provide clarity within the last 7 days have walked through your door. Because they'll use that and say, oh, I've got a ton of activity. Well, how many, you might ask, how many have you had within the last week? And then they'll dial in and they may have only had one in the last week. So.
Just a quick question for Jay. So you mentioned sitting on the houses with FSBOs. You're doing that with the intention of converting them to a listing. You're not doing
Yes,
that with the
converting to a
intention of
listing.
converting to
I don't care about flipping a buyer.
Right. How do you plan on converting a listing after the open house?
So like I
Without
mentioned,
being
every
like,
FSBO person has their threshold of pain.
um,
And all the little seeds that I just planted in his brain, who's gonna write a contract for me? Do you know how to handle home inspections? Do you know how to negotiate this and that? I'm creating the mountain of fear in his mind, and his threshold of pain will come at a certain point if somebody doesn't come buy the house for an acceptable amount. But when that person hits their threshold, they're like, okay, I need to list my house. Who's the first person they're likely gonna call? The person that invested their time, met face-to-face to go over feedback from the open house, advertised on their behalf for free. And you don't win every time, but you can promise yourself that if you don't do 1% more than the rest of the agents out there, you'll lose. That's just it. I mean, it's a game of inches, focus on the millimeters. All this stuff is.
Did you ever mention the possibility of getting sued if you did your own contract? Because things go wrong. COVID or
Yeah,
whatever.
I mean,
Is that something you would even mention, or
No.
just building up the mountain of how much?
no, I don't want to, I mean, I'm not trying, I'm just being real. I don't want to use scare tactics or anything like that.
I think a good question instead of that maybe would be, do you have a really good way of making sure that anybody before they come through your door is qualified to buy your home? And I think then you could bring up, chances are, if they're calling you, they've already been turned down somewhere else.
But using the real data, NAR says that homes FSBO sell 9 to 12% of the market. I don't want you to step over a $100 bill and try to pick up a 10, because that's what you're doing selling by yourself. I mean, it's really that simple. And for the people who are detail oriented, and usually it's the FSBO people who are, you know, the bottom line people, don't give me the fluff, give me the real numbers. That stuff really resonates with them. And typically the FSBO people are the ones who think that way. Because they're sitting there doing all the math in their head.
I pulled the article from, was it Realtor Magazine, NAR's 2018 study. Average home was, average FSBO sold between 160 and 190,000, depending on if they knew the buyer or not.
Yeah, 9 to 12% under market value. That's what their stats say. So I go conservative and say, okay, let's just assume you're only going to get 9% less in value. You're still paying an age of 3%. So best case, you're losing 3% versus listing with me. Again, you're stepping over a $100 bill to pick up a 10. What was the original question?
All right, so who wants to go for Bradley? I know, it's hard.
Pick up Bryce papers.
All right, Jay. That was a tie. We're going.
Another tie, we're tied. Next to
All right.
back.
All right.
See, I think we're back to Bradley. Bradley, you're great, and I want to list my house with you, but everyone in my neighborhood uses brand X, and you're brand Y. I mean, the same realtor sends me mail every single week. I think I should go with brand X.
Totally understand how you feel that way. Have you talked with Brand X and seen exactly what they would do to be able to market, advertise your home the way that you deserve to be able to get it sold for you?
I haven't yet.
Okay.
I've just seen their signs everywhere.
Perfect. And I have no idea what their marketing plan looks like. Every company has their own marketing strategy and that type of thing. All I can show you is that we are a company that is 70% repeat referral business. We've been in business for over 30 years. This is what our marketing and advertising program looks like. We've got a database of over 6,000 people that we will blast your home to. You're on almost 1,000 websites with us. We're all over social media, and we've got built-in database of buyers with our sales partners that are ready to buy. So I can only go through and show you what we do to be able to help get the results that we get for our sellers. And I'm not sure what they do, but I would encourage you to make sure that you take a look in writing of what they really do. Oh, by the way, this is how many contracts we've had go into contract within the last 7 days. You may want to ask that question of them as well.
Tell me a little bit about that market.
Gladly. I'll give you.
I'm going to steal a script I learned from them a few years ago. The feel, felt, found.
Yeah, that's the best.
You know,
This,
it is really powerful. And I'd never heard of that until I heard you say those words. I don't know how I missed it in all the script training, all that stuff, but it's really powerful. You know, I've had many people in your shoes who feel the way you do about that. And what they found was, and they felt that listening with that localized broker or brand would be better for them. But what they ultimately found was looking at our data and what we do compared to what any other broker in this area does outperforms them by leaps and bounds. And again, I refer back to my slide in my listed presentation that says, I put it in like an equation. We sell 99.1% of our original list price. The average age is 95.4. I would encourage you to talk to 3 or 4 agents, let them be one of them. Make sure you're getting that information, have them show you hard data on their performance, and let that be a deciding factor for you. And if they tell you something that we haven't talked about, I would love if you call me and let's address that. And ultimately, I could be sitting in DeSoto. It really doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter.
I think at that point, it would be built with you versus how they were able to build a relationship with someone else. At that point, that's how they would choose. Based on
Right.
relationship.
yeah, I think you're right. I think
For sure.
it's all about connecting. It's all about connecting.
Oh, by the way, on that point, I saw a little script thing this morning online. If you go to a listing presentation and someone offers you a bottle of water, take it always, every time. Because that's, believe it or not, the transition of that bottle of water from their hands to theirs is a rapport builder. Don't ever reject anything. Even if they offer you peanut butter and you have a horrible peanut allergy, take it. Don't eat it, just take it. Yeah. Feed it to the dog under the table.
The dog under the table.
But you know, what you should have done your homework before, knowing that might be an objection in that neighborhood. And you might actually pull that agent's sale data. So you're ready and armed with real stuff from MLS.
Right.
All right, do we want to vote? All right, Jay.
But I'm giving Brad half credit because it was his script.
Bradley. All right, Brad, you won. But it was both your scripts, so I guess they.
Yeah, it was. Feels
Well,
all
he
found.
said his script just on the last question, verbatim, it was his script on the last one, because I have yours memorized. And I was like, that's exactly what he said.
All right, so we have 9 minutes left, but we have time for 2 more scripts.
Sure.
Okay, so the first one, Jay. I know a bunch of realtors. My husband is actually a realtor. My husband, yes. What makes you different from everybody else?
So going back to my data that I gave you in the slideshow. What makes us different is the fact that we sold 408 homes last year. The average age of this market sells 7 per year. Make sure you're asking these people all the questions that really matter and what are going to result in a bigger bottom line too. I mean, I really keep it short and sweet. Same script with the friend. I have a friend that's an agent, just got their license. So like, because ultimately somebody is probably going to be upset at the end of this or have a bad taste in their mouth. Do you want to sour that relationship? Sorry, I went off topic
No.
there.
No.
But yeah, I mean, I'm simplicity.
A
short and
friend,
sweet,
a relative,
yeah.
somebody's
Yeah.
an agent, right?
If your husband's
Agent.
why, we're not even talking. So I've never had that objection before, but I have had that my sister's hairdresser's son just got his license.
Right. Who's the guy in San Diego they did the videos of who called they have a video involved. They used to show it, where he was calling someone and they were actually a realtor, had listed their home and wasn't able to sell it. And he got the listing appointment.
Relisted it with them. That's awesome. I don't remember who, I know you're
So
talking
that
about.
one probably, that video probably came, I did it for like 2 years. And then I bet you, do you remember how long ago?
Well, it would have been within the last 3.5 years.
Okay, so
But
I was already.
Yeah, it would have been, when did we do it? When did we do it in our market center?
Oh,
That was 2 years ago?
yeah,
Did they show the video?
yeah. So I wasn't a bowl coach then, nor did I take balls at that point. But it happens. It happens. I had a lady that was a teacher, and I called her dad, who's expired, and he said that my daughter's a teacher. She does this part-time. We just are going to keep the listing with her. And to go to that, to that objection, I just basically said, hey, I totally understand that that's your daughter. By the way, why don't I go ahead and list it and give you the marketing and advertising that you deserve? She can focus on teaching, and I'll give a referral to you. And turned around, did it.
And you can also go the direct route. How important is selling your home quickly for the most money? If it's not very important, have at it. Tear it up. I'm all about being direct.
Well, and the cool thing about that is, it's going back to my husband's a realtor. Well, hey, do you mind if I ask, is your husband happy?
You're gonna get that cross-eyed look.
What I mean is he
On what
happy
level?
with where he's at? Is he happy with the company that he's selling real estate with?
So you're talking about bringing it in.
Recruit.
That teacher, she's now KW in my downline out in Fort Worth.
Are you serious?
Teachers are great realtors.
Yes.
Yes, they know.
They're great realtors.
So look for an opportunity. There's always, and by the way, okay, so you may not get that commission, but if they join your downline, that's $2,600 a year in your profit share. So.
Can you repeat that one more time?
All right, so we have 5 minutes left and I wanted to get to this one.
You got the most important one still on the page.
Yeah,
Are you gonna pick the right one?
let's see. All right, Bradley, I think you're great. I just have another agent who will list the house and take 1% on the listing side. I just need you to match that and we can do business.
So I totally understand how you feel. So here's, oh, do I need to
Was that
start?
it? Is that it?
What? That's it. Oh, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's the number one
That's
objection.
the main one I want to
That's
get
the number one objection you better be prepared for.
So I think I would go into the slides and the statistics and the numbers. Totally understand how you feel. I actually was out in front of someone the other day that felt the exact same way. And after we were able to put our marketing and advertising program to work for them, then at the end of the day, here's how they felt once in their pocket. So I understand that 1%, if this is a $200,000 listing, and from what my commission's at, in regards to that 1%, there's 2% there, so that's what, $4,000? So that person was actually for sale by owner beforehand, and we wound up selling their property $12,000 over. And by the way, they were on Zillow as a for sale by owner for 60 days. We did it in 48 hours. So would you like to do the right thing and allow us to be able to give you the biggest opportunity to be able to make the most amount of money?
Do you do the pauses? 'Cause I noticed that the.
I do, because I'm like my dad. And so we do a lot of hand motions, and I mean, he gets down, like at one point, he'll like be on a table, pounding the table. I mean, it's, so, well, that too, but in person, I mean, we're free. And
Stay away from y'all in the office.
That's that bold language, those implied commands. Sell your home.
Yeah. This is my favorite
Hire me.
objection, by the way. I love this objection.
Mhm.
And usually if you're given a really effective listing presentation, you snuff this fire out before it even comes up. They don't even ask about it if you've got good data. So one thing I say to somebody who says that is, You know, Shane, we just talked about our performance versus the average agent MLS on a $250,000 house. We outperform the average agent to the tune of $10,000 net gain to you. This person who's going to cut you 2% off of that is going to save you $5,000. Now those numbers adding up. You're essentially taking $5,000 less to go get this. You're stepping over the $100 bill to pick up the 10. Let me show you something different. So each one of these represents a commission point in a real estate deal. There's 6 of them here.
I've heard this.
So we're going to pay
I love it.
the buyer's agent who procures the buyer for your property, their 3%. That leaves us with 3% left over. One of these goes to pay the IRS and my broker. One of these goes to pay me. And one of these goes to pay your market. Which one do you want me to take away?
Oh, shoot.
Question, what about Open Door? Like, they'll sell it for 4%.
They'll sell it 4%, but there's a 9% service fee on top of it.
Do your research on that.
So if you can get into those discount places and compete against them, they're easy to destroy. Where they only charge 4%, but they're charging you 10 grand in service fee. Make sure they're just calling their commission a different thing. Just slip it by the consumer.
Yeah, Zillow's offers was 11%.
Is it really?
The one I ran into.
Well, and you know what the reality is? That they're losing traction a little bit because A, they're being exposed, but there used to be a company right across the street. Remember them? Had the yellow VW Bug. It was for sale by owner outfit.
Yes, I do remember that.
Back when you could sell them really easy on your own and people would just come by there and drop off $500 and throw it online. And then when the market shifted, they were closed in 30 days. So people will come and go out of the market. The most important thing you can do is be consistent in what you do and be very persistent about your activities in those.
And what we, just, I mean, being transparent, what we do is that we go out to a home, you know, we throw it out there, we're 6%, we're 5%, or we're 4%. And we're 5% if one of our in-house sales partners bring the buyer, and we're 4% if myself or my father sell it and there's no other agent involved on the other side. Oh, by the way, we do that about 40% of the time because of how we market and advertise. So it incentivizes you and incentivizes me to make sure that every lead that comes through, I'm reaching out to that lead to qualify them and get them into your home.
Another really powerful thing to say to people, and I learned this from Bold the first time I took it, and that is, if that agent's willing to give up their commission that quickly, how hard are they willing to fight for your bottom dollar? They're giving up their money that quickly. How quickly are they give up yours?
Are they doing the 3 Ps or are they doing 5?
Yeah. That's my favorite objection. It's the one that you consistently hear. But again, if you fine tune your listing presentation, if you find that if you're addressing the meat of what's in their head but unsaid, it goes away. If you can show them on paper how you're going to outperform, if you're an analytical type, you're doing the math and you see that's fine. I'm losing $4,000 going with guys who do it 4%.
All right, it's 1 o'clock. It's actually 1:01. Any other questions, thoughts? I want to be courteous of your time.
Yeah.
So
I'm good.
do you have time for any
Yeah, I'm
questions?
good.
Yeah.
For anything.
Great job. What should we read?
What you can read, Atomic Habits.
Where did you read that? That's a good, I read it. I was at school, I'm the easy sort of.
It's a great book.
What is it?
Atomic Habits.
Oh,
The first 5 chapters will change your life.
I have a good suggestion. I just reread it this weekend. Greatest salesman in the world, Og Mandino. Simple but direct.
You said you were reading something this morning that reminded you to always take the water. What were?
I just taught online.
Oh, just.
I was
one
scrolling
random-
across, getting all these little script groups and stuff like that.
Oh,
And somebody threw it up there. Small. Never thought of that. I mean, I go to script class all the time, learn something every single time. But the reality with your scripts is, when you go into a listing presentation, I don't care if it's a $40,000 house or $4 million, my script, intro script is the same thing every single time. And you'll find that there's only 2 or 3 potential roads or objections you might get. If you're prepared for what might lie at the end of each of those roads, you're golden. Same thing with calling online leads, same thing with calling Inspire. It doesn't matter. Just keep it simple.
You share those scripts with new agents?
Happy to. They're so simple. I mean, you want my online internet buyer script? It's one page.
Yeah.
It's really simple. If they say yes, there's a response. If they say no. The key when you're trying to get a sale, especially on the phone or something, don't ever ask yes or no questions. The only yes or no question ever asked on the phone is, have you bought a home before? Because there's a script for either one of those answers. And I almost hope it's no, but that's a really powerful script. Cool.
Thanks, guys.
I think,
You bet.
I think they both won.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think we all. Maybe a lot.
All right, thank you.
Lunch is on the
guys.
back table. Just kidding.